Alright, everybody. Before we get into this, I want to take a minute to give a shout out to my dad. Because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even know who the fuck Alice Cooper is. So he got me into Alice Cooper, and I really thank him for that. And I really hope he likes this video because I put a lot of time and effort into it. So, cheers. This video is an album ranking system on one of my favorites, the godfather of shock rock, the architect, old Black Eyes himself, Alice Cooper. He's been a major influence in my life and one of my favorite solo artists or frontmen in history for years and years, since I was 4 years old, and I am happy to be finally doing this. Alright, I really don't know what to say about Alice Cooper that's already has not been said. He's achieved so much. The man has had a 50-year career. 50-year career, been all around the world. He's faced controversies, been through addiction, rehab, reinvention time after time, has 30 albums, studio, countless amount of compilations and live albums between the Alice Cooper group and his solo career. Man, he's done it all. Movies, friggin' golf, the celebrity golf tournaments and stuff. Alice Cooper's been over his own hot sauce. Like, he helps out with the food drives and stuff. He's an all-around great man, a great person, and a showman of showmans. Like, there's really nothing you can say about Alice Cooper that has not been said. He's one of my all-time favorites. He'll always be one of my all-time favorites. And there's nothing that's gonna change my mind about it. Like, he's amazing. He's very intelligent. He captures you. He gives everybody what they want. He gives the fans truly what they want. Alright, so how our ranking system is going to work. In true Alice Cooper fashion, we're going to use a Black Widow. 1 for being lame or bad, and 5 Black Widows for being awesome or I love the album. Alice Cooper the band, 1968 to 1974. Alright, I really don't have too much to say about Pretty's For You because I really only liked Levity Ball, Reflected, which was an early version of Elected, just different words, and her music was a little bit different. And then Nobody Likes Me, but that wasn't even on the album. Like, I've tried to listen to it, but it was too all over the place. Yeah, I tried to like it, but yeah, no dice. I gotta give Pretty's For You only 1 Black Widow. Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't really get into Easy Action much either, but I wanted to like Easy Action, I really did, because I heard Mr. and Misdemeanor, and I really liked it, and Refrigerator Heaven's pretty good, and then They're All Laughing at Me. That was a pretty good song, but it was another one, I really couldn't get into it. Like, I was trying, that was another one, I made several attempts. I've made several attempts, because of the fact it was the second Alice Cooper album, so I was like, alright, let's try it. But no. Yeah, and Easy Action's gonna get a 1 Black Widow too. Love It to Death was probably, in my opinion, one of my favorite albums from Alice Cooper. It had, Caught in a Dream, Black Juju, I'm 18, Long Way to Go. There was Is It My Body, Hallowed Be Thy Name, The Second Coming, Ballad of Dwight Fry. It was just an amazing album. It is one of my favorite albums still to this day. I love that album. I'm gonna give Love to Death 5 Black Widows hands down. Killer is another one that I honestly love every song on that album. Kicks off with Under My Wheels. Then we got, the hell is there, Be My Lover, there's Desperado, Halo of Flies, Dead Babies, Drive Me Nervous, Say Yeah Yeah, the Song Killer. It just, everything is awesome. I love that album. I've loved it for years. I'm giving Killer 5 Black Widows, hands down, no questions asked. Honestly, I don't think that School's Out gets enough credit. Yeah, the song gets enough credit, but the album, we got Looney Tune, My Stars, Alma Mater, Gutter Cats vs. the Jets, Blue Turk. That whole album was so good and so slept on. Yeah, the song School's Out is like everybody listens to it, still played to this day, stands the test of time, but still, this is an awesome album. Like seriously, School's Out, like if you have not listened to School's Out, the entire album, like seriously, give it a go. Public Animal number 9, like I think I probably rattled off the entire album by now, but I think there's only like 9 songs on it. But still, it's a great album. I'm giving it 5 Black Widows. $1 Billion Babies was a groundbreaking album from Alice Cooper. It had banger after banger after banger. Hello Hooray, Raped and Freezing, it was elected, $1 Billion Babies, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Unfinished Sweet. What else do we have? Marianne, Sick Things, I Love the Dead. It was a really great album. Generation Landslide was on it. All these songs have stood the test of time. They're still being played today. He still plays Elected. He still plays $1 Billion Baby. Still playing I Love the Dead. Just goes to show that this album was so groundbreaking, so amazing. There was so much stuff involved in $1 Billion Babies. And I'll tell you what, it's definitely an album that any Alice Cooper fan will have on their top list. This album has everything. I'm definitely going to give it a 5 Black Widows. Alright, Muscle of Love, I'm ashamed to say that I slept on for quite some time. And I really am, because listening to it, I enjoy it. There's more songs I like than just Muscle of Love, Man with the Golden Gun, and Big Apple Dreamin'. I enjoyed Woman Machine. I love Never Been Sold Before. I mean, Teenage Lamont, I knew about the song. I'm like, it's an alright. But there is better songs on the album, and I'm ashamed to say I slept on this for quite some time. I really am. And I wish I did listen to it more. I wish I did, and honestly, it could have been better for their last album. I know it says 1974 in the introduction to this video, but for argument's sake, it was released in November of 73, and I had nothing for 74, and this is their last album, and I have to give it 4 Black Widows. I'm sorry. Alice Goes Solo, 1975 to 1979. Talk about going balls to the wall for an album. Not only was this Alice Cooper's very first solo record, it was a concept album about Steven in a nightmare. And he also made a television movie for it, The Nightmare. Check it out, it's fucking fantastic. Vincent Price was in it, and the musical diversity, the tour, there was so much stuff in this album. It's really an awesome album, and still my top favorite, as well as many others for an album. And my personal top picks would be the title track, would be Black Widow, Devil's Food, we got Steven, The Awakening, Years Ago, Department of Youth was awesome, Some Folks is pretty cool, and it's definitely the perfect album for a spooky season, Halloween, anytime. Welcome to My Nightmare definitely gets 5 Black Widows, no questions. Goes to Hell, I really didn't like anything besides Goes to Hell, Didn't We Meet, Guilty, and I'm Going Home. I mean, the ballads on there are alright, Wake Me Gently and I Never Cry, but I'm not gonna go saying that, adding it. The rest of the album was ridiculous. I'm the Coolest, Give the Kid a Break, I'm Always Chasing Rainbows. Wish You Were Here was good, that was pretty good, but the rest of it was how could you go from Welcome to My Nightmare to this? It sounded like it was just an excuse for Alice to cut a disco album. 3 Black Widows. No, I can't really be too critical on Lace and Whiskey because, in fact, Alice was battling alcohol pretty bad at this point. But it was a pretty good album. I mean, It's Hot Tonight, the title track, Lace and Whiskey, Road Rats, King of the Silver Screen, I liked. That also had You and Me, which is a pretty good song. The rest of it, like Damned If You Do and No More Love at Your Convenience, I don't know all about that. That didn't really, it was, yeah. I mean, there was good songs. I'm going to give it 4 Black Widows. From the Inside was Alice's redemption album. He just got out of a psych ward. The whole album is pretty much based around his experience there. He was in there for alcohol. It's a pretty good album. I mean, From the Inside, Wish I Were Born in Beverly Hills. Quiet Room's kind of should have been like later in the track, but then there was Sirius, that was pretty good. Nurse Rosetta, For Veronica's Sake, that was pretty good stuff on there. I mean, Million Billy it is what it is. Each story was written by all the people he saw in the Institute, so you can't really go on that. But for overall, it was a pretty decent album. It had a pretty good tour that followed it. I'm going to give it 4 Black Widows. Now here's the part where we review the notorious 4 albums that Alice has no recollection of ever recording. Or, in other terms, 1980 to 1985. Yeah, Flush the Fashion was another one I could not really get behind except for the song Pain. I've tried to listen to it. I tried to listen to Talk Talk and Clones Were All because they were radio singles, but no. I didn't like it. It sounded too synth poppy and new wavy, all the shit that was going on in the 80s. Nothing like Alice Cooper at all. Flush the Fashion gets 1 Black Widow. Special Forces. I've allotted myself by the grace of God enough time to shit on this album. What the fuck was his idea with Special Forces? Physically, you could tell he was really rough shape. And it was rumored that he was also freebasing coke along with his very terrible alcohol consumption. And honestly, I believe it. I really do. I'm giving this 1 Black Widow. There's nothing I can really say about this album that's gonna help it any. It was fucking god awful, and I don't know what the fuck he was thinking looking like that. So 1 Black Widow. Yeah, I got nothing. Fucking terrible. No. 1 Black Widow. Alice reinvents himself and it's a complete success. Talk about a 180. Completely sober Alice. Constrictor was an amazing album. Everything. Teenage Frankenstein, He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask is on it. There's Life and Death of the Party, The World Needs Guts. This is like a heavy metal Alice, and it is amazing, and I am so happy to hear this. Other than that, whatever the hell he was doing for the 4 albums, he never even remembered doing, but this album was one of the best albums I've heard from Alice Cooper. This was great. Like speed metal or thrash on it, just hard rock, everything. It was a great album. I highly recommend this album to anybody. 5 Black Widows, hands down. Raise Your Fist and Yell was another fantastic effort from Alice Cooper. It had so much good shit. It was another heavy metal album, which was awesome. It had Chop 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 on it, Lock Me Up, Prince of Darkness, Roses on White Lace, Freedom, Give the Radio Back, not just to name a few. The whole album's awesome. 5 Black Widows. Trash was Alice Cooper's sleaze rock album, and sleazy it was. The tongue-in-cheek sexual innuendo, it had the ballads, it had it all. It was a freaking awesome album. Like, it was really good. I love the later 80s Alice, like the cock rock and the thrash metal, like all that. It was like some of the best stuff I've ever heard. And this is actually one of the first couple albums I've ever heard by Alice, and it was fantastic. I loved it. It's like a lot of shit. Bed of Nails, Spark in the Dark, Poison's on it, Hell's Living Without You, Trash is great, I'm Your Gun's amazing, House of Fire. Yeah, this Maniacs in Love With You is a pretty good song. The whole album was freaking awesome, dude. I give it 5 Black Widows. Alice Cooper in the 90s, 1990 to 1999. Hey Stupid was another awesome album by Alice Cooper. It was the last of the cock rock. He had the 2 heavy metal ones and the 2 cock rock. But this album was fantastic. It had Hey Stupid, Love's a Loaded Gun, Snakebite. I really like Dangerous Tonight, Might As Well Be on Mars. Feed My Frankenstein, I love that song. Hurricane Years, I love that song. Little by Little, that's a pretty good song. Dirty Dreams is a good song. My favorite song on it is Wind Up Toy, like my all-time favorite song on it. But the whole album was like, it was good from start to finish, like everything on it. I mean, holy shit, he was in Wayne's World. He played Feed My Frankenstein in the Wayne's World movie. That was cool as hell. I loved seeing that. And this whole album, man, it brings me back so much. I gotta give this 5 Black Widows. I really do. Last Temptation is chapter 2 to the Stephen story, the Stephen saga. It depicts Stephen being tempted by a ringmaster, played by Alice Cooper, and if he joins his traveling sideshow, he'll never grow old. Now, this album was made with comic books, a trilogy of comic books too. It was hyped up to max, like a second Welcome to My Nightmare, apparently, but it was good. It was good. It had like Unholy War, You're My Temptation, Lost in America, which made no fucking sense, but it was a bop. Or good. Sideshow. It was a good album, but it wasn't as great as it was made up to be. It could have been a lot better, but like, to be honest, because Lost in America made zero fucking sense, it lost the point. I'm gonna have to give it 4 Black Widows. I'm sorry. Alice in the 21st Century, 2000 to 2010. Talking about adapting with the times, Brutal Planet is probably one of Alice's most heavy albums he's put out to date. And at that time, there's a lot of new metal and a lot of more aggressive metal around, and what better way to adapt with the times and still remain relevant than put out a brutal heavy metal album. It was amazing. Everything on it was good. And still one of my favorite albums I've listened to today, and I'm probably going to love this album for years to come. It's amazing. Simply was. I give it 5 Black Widows. I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this, but I enjoyed Dragontown. I really did. Sugarman, Deeper, Dragontown, I Want to Be God. The bonus track, I Can't Sleep, Clowns Will Eat Me. There was Somewhere in the Jungles on that. I really did. I enjoyed that album. And I know it was like bibliography and all that shit, same thing with Brutal Planet. This is like a depiction of hell, Dragontown's hell and all that, and Brutal Planet's like, the planet is it's garbage, and I get that, but like, I love both of those albums very much. Like they're heavy as shit too. Like they're like some of Alice's heaviest stuff. I give it 5 Black Widows. Through the Eyes of Alice Cooper was a bold move, and honestly, in my opinion, a little sudden. Just getting off the tour from Dragontown and going right in and releasing Through the Eyes of Alice Cooper and shifting right from garage rock going from heavy metal. It was a bold move, but nonetheless, the album was good. I enjoyed it. Like between old school and high school, there was the original version of Detroit City was on there. That was good. This House is Haunted. I enjoyed that song. There was What Do You Want From Me? Backyard Brawl. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. I give it 4 Black Widows. Dirty Diamonds I enjoyed for the most part. I enjoyed Sunset Babies, Woman of Mass Distraction, 6 Hours. I loved Dirty Diamonds' song, Zombie Dance and Run Down the Devil. However, I did not enjoy Stand with Exhibit. I don't know why this song was on there. It literally had no need to be on there. The album was fine by its own. The Saga of Jesse Jane. Hell, they could have put The Sharpest Pain on there. Fucking, they have Your Own Worst Enemy. They could have done that. Like, they did not need Stand. And for that song alone, I'm giving it 4 Black Widows. Along Came a Spider was another visit to Stephen. In this one, he was a serial killer who wrote a diary of all his killings, and it follows through that. It was a really good album. It had Vengeance is Mine, I Know Where You Live, Wrapped in Silk was on it, The One That Got Away. It was really good times. Wake the Dead was on it, featuring Ozzy. That was good times. Was like Killed by Love, Salvation, I'm Hungry. There was a bunch of good stuff on there. I really enjoyed the album. I'm going to give it 5 Black Widows. Alice Cooper, 2010 to present. Welcome to My Nightmare. It was a sequel, follow-up to Welcome to My Nightmare 75, and is also the last stop on the Steven saga. This is, he's in a nightmare, and he actually dies in his nightmare this time. I enjoyed it very much. Even the song with the auto-tune, I Was Made of You, that's pretty good, and the one with Kesha was pretty good even too. What Baby Wants, I enjoyed it. My favorite song probably be Under the Bed. Unfortunately, it was only a bonus track, but still, nonetheless, it was freaking awesome. They had a couple songs with the original band on there. That was really cool. That Congregation with Rob Zombie. I'm going to give it 5 Black Widows, man. Paranormal was a pretty decent album. It had some good stuff on it, but then there was some, like, it was hard to put my finger on it all together. I mean, I loved my Private Breakdown, Sound of A is alright, Fireball, it's a pretty good song, Paranoid Personality. It was really hard to put where my stands on this album is, because I mean, it was good, but I was going through some really rough shit at the time, and it seems like it's a constant reminder every time I hear anything about this album. But I'm gonna put that aside and still give it 5 Black Widows. I enjoyed Detroit Stories. It was a fun album. It had covers like Rock and Roll, East Side Story, Sister Ann. And then there was like $1,000 Shoes. That was a pretty fun song. Our Love Will Change the World was a good cover. Social Debris was on it. That was awesome. Go Man Go, Detroit City. There was I Hate You. That had the original Alice Cooper band in it. That was pretty cool. I gave it 5 Black Widows. Road was another fun album, and I enjoyed the concept that they recorded the album while they were on tour, which was cool. I enjoyed White Line Frankenstein, obviously. Rules of the Road was good. I love that they redid Road Rats. They named it Road Rats Forever. That was awesome. Dead Don't Dance with Ken Roberts. That was rad. There was a whole bunch of stuff on there. I just really dug the album, and it was fun. Like, I really thought the album was fun. I enjoyed listening to the whole thing all the way through. But I honestly think by far the best song on the album was 100 Miles. That song was like so freaking good. I'm gonna give this album 5 Black Widows. Well, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please share the shit out of it. And like it and subscribe and whatever. But share the shit out of it. If you want me to do anybody else, feel free. Leave in the comments. I'll see what I can do. Until then, rock and roll and party on.